All right, let's take a look at the exercises from Futato chapter 30, primarily focusing on numbers. Surprise here, this henna particle um, occurs in a lot of different, or has several different functions. A lot of times you can kind of split these into a few broad categories. So, surprise, I'm not sure if that's the label I'd use for overarching here, but it's usually focus. Focusing attention or getting attention, or it can be used in this surprise idea. And then another thing you want to be aware of is when you have a pronoun suffix. So a pronoun suffix is usually going to function as the subject of whatever clause is going to follow that. So a lot of times we can, if we just translate this as behold or something like that, um, we can give the wrong emphasis there. It's not always super emphatic. It's just sort of a way of shifting attention or shifting focus in dialogue, that sort of a thing. So I guess it's not just limited to dialogue, it would be narrative as well. But that's what's going on with the hina particle. All right, so let's go here to the exercises. And just going through here again, you've got the translations in the back of your book. I'm just going to try to point out any sort of weird things to be aware of, any irregularities. So here, one king, pretty straightforward. Melech echad, one king. You'll note that for the number one, it usually follows its noun. Em achat also. Here we've got a feminine singular, and so this is going to be the feminine singular form. I think when you probably learned these numbers, you probably learned a few different forms. So, yeah, achat being the feminine singular, echad being the masculine singular. So, aim achat, this is, it's a different word here. You've got a whole different letter, but hopefully you can connect echad and echat. They're both dentals at the end. Patak tav usually indicates feminine singular, so hopefully that's helpful to you. Number three, we've got shanim, melachim. Shanim here. This is two, and it's in the dual. Okay, so is it two, or is this the word for 2 years, actually? 2 years, king. Because I know that there's a tav in there somewhere. Let me double check that. I'm confusing myself. Okay, masculine is shanaim, feminine is shataim. So again here, you can see in number one and number two, the tav is used for the feminine form. All right, number three, that goes away. Number three, a whole new situation starts that we'll talk about here. But let's go back. All over the place. All right, so am achat, one mother. Shanaim melachim, this is going to be two kings. So here you've got the masculine dual form with, and again, it's dual because it's two. I hope that's pretty straightforward for you. Two kings, and kings is plural. All right, so number four, we've got shataim, amiot, emot, sorry. Shataim emot. So emot, this is the plural form of aim. So emot is going to be mothers, and then shataim is the feminine dual form. And again, it's dual because there's two, but you still use the plural form of the noun. All right, so number three. Numbers 3 through 10 is where it gets a little confusing for some students. I'm not sure how Futato, what he calls this. Okay, perfect. He does it the way that I would do it, okay? The masculine form looks feminine, okay? But it is masculine. All Right? The feminine form looks masculine, but it is feminine. So, when you get down here to number 5, Shlosha Melachim, I know that this looks feminine, but the numbers 3 through 10 look the opposite of what they are. So this is a masculine noun, or a masculine adjective, 3. So it modifies Melachim, 3 kings. Shalosh Emot, this is going to be 3 mothers. And I know that Shalosh looks masculine, but again, 3 through 10, they're the opposite of what they look like. All right? So as we go through here, Tesha, I can't even remember now. I think that's 9. Is Tesha 9? Yeah. Tish-ah is the masculine form, and then Tesha is going to be the feminine form. Right, so Tesha, feminine. Again, the number is singular because just like in English, we don't say 9's mothers. We say 9 mothers. So 9 emote mothers. Number 8, Shiv-ah. So this again is masculine, Melachim. This is going to be 7 masculine, 7 kings. Kamisha, I'm almost certain that's 5. I got to review my numbers. 5 or 8? Yeah, Shmoneh and Shmona is 8. 5 is Chamesh and Chamisha. Alright, so we're looking at Chamisha. This is masculine. This is 5 kings. Esra, 10 kings. Sheish Emot. This is going to be 6 mothers. And Arba Emot is 4 mothers. Alright, and then where are we going here? That's A, C, D, E, and F. Alright, so looking at C. Alright, remember, when you get the plural form of a number, particularly the plural form of a number 3 through 10. Actually, 10, I don't think it works, but yeah, because 10 plural I think is 20. But 3 through 9, if it's in the plural, that's basically a factor of 10. So shloshim is going to be 30. Shloshim shlosha is going to be 30 and 3. Arva'ah, that's 4, and chameshim, that's going to be 4 and 50, so 54. And honest to goodness, with as long as it's been since I've reviewed my numbers, I probably ought to have a parallel, probably ought to have the answer key up here, so let me do that real quick, just to make sure. I'd rather use the answer key with you than to tell you incorrectly here. Let's see, okay. So, yeah, 54 is what, now, it's kind of silly because, you know, I'm just looking at them, but I'm going to use this to try to explain any sort of, anything unusual, okay? So let me get this over here. All right, so we've got our answer key over here and our numbers over here. All right, so we just did number 3, which was 54. Here we've got Tish'im. So again, this is Tisha, or Tesha rather, but this is the plural form. So it's going to be 9 times 10, 90, and Sheish is 6, so 96. All right, number 5, we've got Shalosh Mayot. Okay, so Mayah is going to be 100. Mayot, I guess, is the plural form of hundreds. So 3 hundreds. That would be 300. All right. I know we say 300 singular in English, but in Hebrew it would be 300s. 3 100s. All right, shlosh meot, so 300, and shlosha, 303. All right, so 303. Number 7, shlosh meot, 300s, and shloshim, 30, so 330. All right, number 8, shlosh meot, shloshim, ve shlosh. That would be 300s and 30 and 3, 333. All right, number 9, we've got shloshet elafim. So elafim is the plural of elef, which is thousand. So thousands. Shloshet, this is the construct form. So this would basically be 3 of thousands. So that would be 3,000. Number 10, shloshet elafim shlosh. So this would be 3,003. Oh, I'm not done yet. Okay. Shloshet elafim, that's 3,000. Shlosh meot, so that's 300. Shloshim, so that's 30. Shalosh. So 3,000s and 300s and 30 and 3. So 3,333. All right. Let's go ahead and temporarily hide that. We don't need that anymore. That was C. We want D, E, and F now. All right, so D, we've got shlachta. So this is just a standard Cal Perfect 2ms suffix on shlach. Yeah, I guess you sent. I guess I'll give you a translation there too. Number 2, we've got dibarta. So again, perfect 2ms suffix on a perfect PL. So here we've got the PL, Hirik in R1, Dagish in R2. Remember, the PL maintains the sere in the perfect only for the third person. When you go into second person and first person, it goes back to patach. Number 3, we've got niktov. This is just a standard cal, indicated by the Hirik prefix. Cal imperfect, indicated by the noon prefix. 1 CP, also indicated by the noon prefix. And that is of katav. Number 4, we've got a noon prefix on safar. That noon prefix has a shavah prefix vowel. So that right there tells us we're dealing with PL or possibly the passive pool, which we haven't gotten yet. R1 patak, R2 dagesh, R2 sere, all point to PL. So we have a PL imperfect 1 CP form of safar. Number 5, we've got ma lahu. This is just your standard Cal perfect 3 CP form of malach. Number 6, we've got ahalel. All right. So we've got an aleph prefix that tells us imperfect 1 CS. Our aleph prefix has a hatef vowel, so that tells us we're in the PL stem. R1 patak, R2 dagesh, R2 sere confirm PL. So we've got a PL imperfect 1 CS of halal. Number 7, we've got kad shu. Kad shu, we've got a shurik suffix. That happens in the perfect 3CP, but in the perfect 3CP, we would have a kametz in R1. We also would not have a dagesh in R2. Those are indications of a PL that is unprefixed. So what are our unprefixed conjugations other than the perfect? That would be the infinitive construct. Shurik won't be on an infinitive construct. It won't be on an infinitive period. But we do have the imperative, which is unprefixed. And that would give us a shurik in the 2MP. So this is a PL I think I said imperfect. This is a PL imperative 2MP form of Kadash. Now, number 8, we have a proper PL perfect. This would be, again, the shurik is a sign of the 3CP in the perfect. Here, It makes sense as a PL perfect because we've got an R1 Heric and an R2 Dogesh. This is a PL perfect 3CP form of Kadash. Number 9, we've got, excuse me, take a drink real quick. Number 9, we've got a mem prefix. Now, unless this is part of our root, but if it is part of our root, then goodness, chet either has to be part of our suffix or we've got a 4-letter root. So we're going to take mem off as a prefix. We're going to go with samach as our root. And then we've got a heric yod mem suffix. All right, well, mem prefix tells us participle. Mem shava prefix tells us PL participle. Dagesh in R2 and patak in R1 confirm the PL. And then the heric yod mem tells us we've got a masculine plural participle. So we've got a PL participle, no person, but masculine plural form of samach. And then number 10, we've got bekash tem. Bekash tem. All right. First thing I notice is the tem suffix. That is a perfect 2MP suffix. So I know I'm in the perfect 2MP. I have to decide, am I in the cal or the PL? Well, the cal would have a shava in R1, and then probably patak in R2. But we have a heric in R1 and a dagesh in R2, so that indicates PL. We've got a PL perfect 2MP form of bakash. All right, and I know I do this every single time, but I gotta go check again. That was D. We're looking at E and F now. All right. Focusing on the negatives. All right, so let's just work through here. Lo nishlach. Okay, so we're negating nishlach. Nishlach is a nun heric prefix on a shalach root. That is a cal imperfect 1CP. We will send. Negate it. We will not send. What or whom will we not send? We will not send the boy. That doesn't mean that we're not going to, send something else necessarily. Well, we're not going to send the boy. We might train the boy, we might rebuke the boy, but what we're not going to do is we're not going to send the boy. The emphasis is on what we're actually doing, okay? Now here we've got al as a negative particle, and it's on nishlacha. All right, well, nishlacha is very similar to nishlach, but we've got the kamatse indicating it is a cohortative. All right, so instead of we will not, it's let us not send. Al is going to be used to negate modals. So lo is used with the imperfect. Al is used with the cohortative. Actually, it's not used with the imperative. You would use lo plus imperfect or al plus imperfect to do a prohibition. Lo would be sort of like an open-ended prohibition, whereas al would be a more immediate prohibition with the imperfect. But al is going to be used with the cohortative and the jussive. Cohortative and jussive are not going to use lo. All right, so let's not send the boy. We're not expressing fact, we're expressing desire or volition. Let's not send the boy. It's like a recommendation rather than a statement of fact. All right, so number 3 here, lo tivne. So tivne, she will build or you will build, but it's negated. You will not build or she will not build. You could even say do not build if it's second person. Do not build what? Habayit, the house. So either she will not build the house or you will not build the house. And if it's you will not build the house, you could even say do not build the house. Number 4, we've got al, and we've got a jussive here. We know this is a jussive because instead of tivneh, we get tivin. We've gotten that shortened form of the third hay. All right, so tivin, This is going to be either, again, it could be adjussive. You can have adjussive second person, um, which would basically be the form of a command. I mean, it would be very similar. Um, I would say jussive is probably a little less direct of a, you know, expression of will than the imperative. I would say imperative is the most direct expression of will, and then jussive would be a little direct. So even jussive in the second person is a little less direct than the imperative. Um, Now that's just what I've gathered in my study of Hebrew. I can't back that up with examples necessarily, but that's the intuition that I have there. So uh, al tivin would basically be, if this is a third feminine singular, it would be let her not build the house, or may she not build the house, something like that. When he translates this as don't let her build the house, I'm not a fan of that translation, because this comes across as an imperative. This comes across as a second person imperative. You. I don't want you to let her do something. Okay? I'm not a fan of that translation. I think it confuses the imperative and the jussive. I think I would translate this as may she not build the house, or even I don't want her to build the house. Could be a very interpretive way of doing it, or let her not build the house. But when you say don't let her build the house, that really comes across to me as an imperative, and that's not what we have here. Now, if it is second person, it would still be different. It would be may you not build this house, or build the house. Like, I don't want you to build the house. May you not build the house. But to say don't build the house, that gets really close to blurring the line between the jussive and the imperative in my mind. Number 5, we've got Yeshav Levilti Amadu Kol Hayom. All right, so Yeshav, pretty straightforward. He dwelt or he sat. Let's get more context. Levilti, again, this is negating an infinitive. So it's basically giving you negative purpose. Okay, so it's like so that, or in order to, but it's in order to not rather than in order to. Okay, so he sat down with the intention not amdo. Okay, amdo. This is not a perfect with a, I mean, we haven't even gotten the suffixes yet, I don't think. Pronoun suffixes on verbs. But this is an infinitive. This is a kametz chatuf. Okay? You know that because it's in a closed, unaccented syllable. The accent's over here. So this is an infinitive. All right? Now, I guess you don't know that because you only know it's closed. I only know it's closed because I know it's an infinitive. If I didn't know that this was an infinitive, I wouldn't know that this is a kametz chatuf, which means I wouldn't know whether this was vocal or silent. So a lot of this has to do with just knowing that after levilti, you're going to get an infinitive most likely. Okay, so that's what enables me to read this as a kametz chatuf and a silent shavah. Amdo, that would be to stand. So this is either him to stand or to stand him, so that he would not stand, in order that he not stand all the day or the whole day. All right, number 6, we've got asru. So asar is to bind or to imprison. So they imprisoned him so as not to, or in order not to, mulko, to reign him, that he reign, either to reign him or him to reign. so as not him to reign, so that he might not reign, all ha'ir, over the city. So they imprisoned him so that he would not reign over the city. All right, and then F, let's just pick our biggest one here. Looks like that's number 3. We've got Vayelahu. All right, so Vayelahu, I see a Vav relative, and if I see a Vav relative, I know that that letter holding the dagesh is a prefix. I know it's not part of my root. So my root begins with lamed, and then I get a kaf, and then a shurik, which is certainly a suffix. So I've only got lamed kaf from my root. Am I missing a hey, laka? Probably not. This sere in the prefix actually indicates that I'm missing a one yod vav. So the problem is when I parse out my root as yamid or as yod lamed chaf, I have to remember that halach gets adopted into the one yod vav family. So the root here is halach. They went, and they went, chamesh mayot, and they went. So chamesh mayot, is this adverbial or is this like a subject? So this would be 5, again it's in construct, 5 of thousands, hundreds, 5 of hundreds. So 500s, they went 500 something, or like 500 miles, or 500 something went. I still don't know yet. I have to keep translating. I don't know if this is my subject or if this is adverbial. So 500 and chamashim, that's 50. And then I have avdei hamelech, servants of the king. Well, that right there is a noun. And it's probably going to be my subject because it's not a direct object and there's no other way for servants of the king really to function adverbially. So I'm going to say 550 servants of the king went. Where did they go? What about them going? Limtso. So this is going to be an infinitive construct. To go out. They went to go out. That's a little. I'm sorry. I'm thinking yatsa. So matza is to look for, to find, to search, something like that. So 550 servants of the king went out to find what or whom? Et beno, to find his son. Presumably the king's son. Vayehi be matzam. So, again, we're setting the scene in the past. We don't need to translate this, especially since we've got an infinitive with a temporal preposition. So just know this is indicating past time. Right? It's a vav relative on an imperfect form. That means past time. So in or when they're finding or finding them, one or the other, we have to let context decide, but then we get a definite direct object marker. So this won't be the direct object, this will be the subject. In their finding or when they found him, and again, we're not going to create a brand new clause because this vayehi plus infinitive, this is a dependent clause. So don't translate this as and they returned. This is a dependent clause. So we need to translate this as when they found him, they returned. Okay, that's the only way it works with this bait preposition here. We can't have this as an independent clause in English. This is a subordinate clause. This is a dependent clause. It's a temporal clause modifying. They returned levate to the house of the king. Vayomer, and they said to him, Hamelech. This is probably this is probably, O king. Um, or it could be, this is the subject, the king said to him, because I said they said, but this is singular. And he said to him, the king. So this could be the king said to him, or he said to him, O king. But we'll keep going to find out. Al Talech. So this is, again, halach. Talech. This could be imperfect, or it could be jussive. This could be 3FS or 2MS. It could be imperfect, could be jussive. So let's just play around with how that would. But let's just start with imperfect. Al. Do not go to the field lest or unless two servants are with you. Okay, so let's take this as the king is the subject. The king said to him, to whom? I guess the son of the king. The king said to his son, do not go to the field unless two servants are with you. Or if we translate this as the son said to the king, King, do not go to the field unless two servants are with you. I think the first one makes more sense. The king speaking presumably to his son, because they were just looking for his son, so his son must have been lost or missing or something. And now that he's found, the king is warning him, do not go into the field unless two servants are with you. All right? There we go. And then did we do G or just F? Just F. Okay, that's it. All right. So hopefully that's helpful for you. Do not forget to be planning for and, frankly, completing your online Connect. If you choose a book review, I need to approve that, okay? A lot of times we get people doing book reviews on books that are not on the list. We can't do that, okay? I need to approve your book review. So I strongly caution you away from it. While we're still in the COVID precautions, take advantage of the video option for your field mentor interview. That is the best way, frankly, the easiest way to complete this assignment. So good luck on that. Let me know if you have any questions. Hope you guys have a great week.